What's up, guys, and welcome back to the infamous project. Today's going to be a pretty exciting episode for two reasons. Number one, I just reached 10K subscribers on YouTube. Number two, what if I told you that I bought an 87 DECH Mustang with over 250,000 miles on it? Miles. So stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you this whole story and sight unseen. I bought the damn car sight unseen. So make sure you stay tuned to see this video because, well, I got lots of information to share and I think you guys are gonna like it. All right, so the first matter of business that I want to talk to you guys about today is my utmost thank you to anybody who's been subscribing, following, just watching the videos. Maybe you're not subscribed, maybe you don't do that, maybe you just kind of watch in the distance, or maybe this is your first time tuning in, which that is completely fine as well, and this still gets extended to you because I just want to say thank you, because I have just finally reached the 10,000 subscriber milestone. And in reality, you know, it's an important milestone because it sort of validates the channel, validates what I do. You know, it's not like I'm out there with 100K or 1 million or any of those like real milestones where YouTube actually sends you cool shit, like a nice plaque and all those things. I'm not up there yet, but at least, you know, if somebody's cruising around, they see, oh, this guy's got over 10K, you know, guess maybe he's not messing around. So in all honesty, it took me a little longer to get here than I thought it would. And you just got to keep at it, keep consistent, just keep going for it. And there's some really great YouTubers, foxbody specific YouTubers in the community that I've built some amazing relationships with. And you know what? We're all kind of in the same boat. You know, Gearhead 704, Casual Customs, we got Danny from Neo Mustangs. List goes on. Cobra LX GTs. There's the other guy with all the Cobras that I've recently got caught onto. And you know what? It's a lot of work. It's so much work. It's hard to keep up with actually wanting to go onto YouTube and watch other videos. But we do, and we keep going forward. And I'm super happy that I've made it this far. What does it mean going forward? I got a couple ideas. I'm not going to share them yet. I think I'll save that for another video, see how things are going. Now that it's kind of mid-year of 2022, I do need to sort of kind of sit back, evaluate, and do like a little debrief or performance evaluation for myself, because, well, it's important to do that. It's important to see now that, you know, I've hit this so-called milestone, to see how I want to move things forward and go from there. So thank you to everyone, and your support means a lot, because without your support, or without you guys tuning in and commenting and engaging, well, what's the point? All right, so now it's story time. And story time starts off with, guess what? I've bought another foxbody. And yes, I've bought another foxbody sight unseen. And I still have not seen it. I have some footage that I'm going to be sharing with you guys throughout this video, courtesy of Casual Customs, because I made him the middleman and got him involved because the car was all the way up in the west coast of Canada. And that's a far haul. Up in the distance of the West Coast, where it seems like everybody likes centerline wheels. And I don't know what it is. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the car actually has centerline wheels on it. The wheels are going to be for sale, but I need your help. All right, guys, I'm trying to find my beer. There it is. Trying to sort of set things up as I'm walking around and talking about everything. Keep things interactive and real time with you guys. So yeah, so I need a set of wheels that originally would have come on a DECH Mustang. And a lot of you guys have heard me say DECH, or you've seen my DECH cars. Maybe you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about right now, which is fine. Because long story short, strawberry car sitting behind me, this white coupe sitting here behind me as well. They have DECH packages on them. They don't have DECH wheels because I've always kind of done my own flair of wheels on my cars. But the suspension and the brakes and the aero kits and everything else are what makes a DECH car. Call it the Canadian Celine, if you will. I hate to compare them, but it's the easiest way to kind of give you guys an idea of what DECH is. So why do I need to find DECH wheels? Well, the car that I've bought sight unseen is a DECH, and it's such an interesting story. It's going to blow your mind. I don't really get, I guess, overly worked up or put into shock about things very often. I think the car that I could compare this one to the most, based on what I know, because I still haven't seen the car in person, but that 93 Reef Blue coupe that I got with the built 408, which of course you could guess is been long sold. It didn't last very long. Reef is not my color. The car was super clean. It was easier for me to I didn't even have to market it. That car sold itself. But in terms of being surprised on what I got when I bought that car, I think this one is going to be very similar. So how did it all start? Well, pretty easy. A guy reached out to me probably 4 months ago, and he's from the west coast of Canada, and he said, listen, I've got this 1987 DECH car, and it has all these DECH parts on it. I made sure that everything was the way that a DECH car is supposed to be, and it even has a numbered plaque on it. So for anybody wondering, numbered DECH cars exist, like the DECH number 5 that I've restored. So if you haven't seen that build, that'd be a good one for you guys to reference. And numbered cars didn't start until 88. And this car is an 87. And the other odd thing is that it's an 87 GT out of all things, and DECH only built off of the LX platform, very similar to Celine. LX hatchbacks were the ones that were favored back in the day when everything was being built. So how did he end up with a numbered DECH car, a numbered GT DECH foxbody? Well, he bought the car with 21,000 or 27,000 original kilometers. So we're talking, what, 15,000 miles-ish, somewhere around there. And from that point forward, he was liaising back and forth with DECH, more specifically, Derek Hansen himself, the founder of DECH.
Promised myself that I would get myself a DECH because that was the car I wanted.
Right.
And a few years later, I contacted Derek. I found out his information and I had a conversation with him. I was just a young man. I says, I dream to have a DECH car and I want to make this happen.
And if you're wondering what DECH stands for, Derek Errol Churchill Hansen. So those were Derek's initials, and those are the initials that you will find in the rear bumpers or the rear skirts of a DECH Mustang. So Sean, the individual that reached out to me, he went into great detail about how he's going back and forth with Derek, and he did everything that DECH normally would have done after the fact. So it's almost like my silver coupe underneath the cover here, because that wasn't a true DECH built car. Hell, the white coupe here isn't a DECH built car either. This isn't numbered. These two cars, I built them as like tribute or clones or whatever you want to call them. Like that one, definitely tribute car. This one back in the day was a clone car. And somehow Sean managed to get Derek to issue him a plaque to validate that the car was a true DECH car. So that kind of perked my interest. But here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. This car has 250,000 miles. Yes, miles. It's like 462,000 kilometers, something insane. And the Carfax actually, in fact, I've never seen a Carfax report so well and chronologically documented in terms of service, renewals, emission inspections. Everything is there, and it's documented kilometers in the main side and miles into the description. Everything has been converted over, and it's all there. So he proceeds to tell me that he bought the car with 27,000 original kilometers, 15,000 miles, and he constantly drove the car from the west coast of Canada back down to California. And up and back and up and back, never drove the car in the winter, maintained it. Whenever something needed to be done, he'd use Ford parts. If he couldn't find Ford parts, he'd use the next best thing that he could find in terms of aftermarket. He did have the engine rebuilt at one point in terms of, I think it was just like bearings and seals. Maybe he did piston rings. I'm not 100% sure yet. I need to go through what I'm told is about a 2-inch binder of paperwork that came with the car. So he presents me with this car and I'm like, man, that is a shit ton of miles. Like, how much do you even want for this thing? So he wanted quite a bit. And anybody that maybe saw, I think it was on Craigslist or Kijiji. Anyways, it wasn't on like your Bring a Trailers or any of the other new conventional for sale forums. Kind of a little bit more old school. And he had a big asking price on it. And I told him, I said, listen, man, the car has a shit ton of miles, no disrespect. I actually just bought another numbered DECH. I'm working on trying to find another one. On top of that, I don't know if I really need to add your car to the stable as of now. And I'm like, I'll help you sell it. I will do a video, send me pictures, do all these things. I'll help, you know, or even if you want me to curate the car. I actually offered him to send me the car here in Texas. I said, listen, I will store your car for the next year, or I will try and broker and find somebody to buy the car because, well, he was leaving Canada and he's due to leave any day now. He's moving to Europe and he didn't want to bring the car with him. He thought he'd never sell this car and it was quite an emotional ordeal for him. So there's kind of the backstory of this crazy car and why he was selling it and how I got to know about it. He was asking 38,000, 35,000 Canadian, probably about 30,000 US for this 250,000 mile DECH, sorta numbered, validated DECH GT. So that's the other thing you guys might be wondering as well. How did he make it a DECH car if it's a GT? So he bought the kit. He actually, and you guys can see one of my videos, I converted a GT to a DECH car. I had to cut all of the GT skirts about 1 inch below the molding to give an area to attach the DECH skirts to. And that's what he did. But he did one thing a little bit different. He only installed the rear bumper, the side skirts. He left the front. He wanted the fog lights. And you guys are probably like, oh, why the hell would he do that? Well, back in the day, everybody wanted fog lights because everybody loved the mean look of the GTs and the fog lights were just a cool thing to have. Like everybody wanted fog lights back then. You found ways to mount fog lights back in the 90s.
Colin says, you know, I'm having second thoughts on this front down.
Yeah.
I really want to keep it as a GT. Is that a problem? He goes, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because you can send that back and you can keep it as a, I was really happy with it.
Cool.
Because I did have the fog lights independently on-off switch, right? I didn't want to lose that. It was
Yeah,
cool.
totally.
Especially with those, those black covers that like totally blacked out the car.
The 90s headlight covers, yeah. Everybody's got a story
Everyone
about
had those. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the cool thing to have.
Totally.
So the car has got DECH side skirts, the DECH rear bumper. It's got the DECH AFD2 rear wing. So on the Strawberry car here, this is the AFD3, which was designed to be a stackable on top of the factory LX wing. What is the reason for this and not keeping with the AFD2? Well, the AFD2 is sort of like a glorified GT. It's like a mix between like a Cobra and a GT wing. And the issue is that on an LX car, which all DECH cars were, once you take this guy off, there's a whole bunch of holes that hold this guy on that needed to be welded and filled and fixed, and then the whole hatch would have to get painted, then they would install the wing. So by coming up with the stackable wing, it allowed them to retain this piece, and then they didn't have to get into a bunch of body work and paint. The aerodynamics and everything else of this guy versus the other guy, they both work. They're function over form, and that is a little bit of the difference of the wing. So the car's got the AFD2, which was the earlier design, which is ultra rare. There's actually an AFD1 wing, which is kind of SVO style. And to my understanding, there was only ever one done. I could be wrong with that. But we got the wing, we got most of the aero kit. Suspension wise, He's got the DECH springs. He's got the yellow DECH conies. He's got the DECH grabbers underneath. The grabbers being kind of those lower rear control arm relocation brackets that go on to change your pinion angle to help with your overall performance on a road course. And he didn't get the wheels. He put center lines on. And again, going back to this whole West Coast thing, I swear, is everybody that I see out in Vancouver or people that are in California, they love those center line wheels. So the car's got center lines on it. We need to find some Simmons or some Diplomat wheels. Here's one of the old school DECH brochures, a foldable 2-piece. So this is actually the AFD2 wing. So you can see how it goes up and it's open underneath and it does retain the third brake light. And we can see one of the earlier shifters with the hearse. This is before they came out with the Nylotron. They have the Monte Carlo Momo steering wheel here. Recaro seats, which these are actually a super rare Monza gray, which these are nice. You can kind of see the dual pattern. I found a set here locally. I'm hoping to get my hands on them. And what else do we got here? There we go. There's what the serial plaque actually looks like for DECH number 001. So the DECH number 5 car is just like this. Flipping this guy around. Gears mostly are performance options. So everything from radiators to brake systems to cylinder modifications and air plenums and all of these things is all on the DECH Motorsport website, which I look after, guys, if you guys want to take a look at that. But here are some of the wheel options. You had Simmons 3-piece alloys, modular 16x8s, or Diplomat alloy wheels, right down to the tires that they used. So all of this stuff is, well, it's super cool to see this, right? The old school Walker Dynamax low restriction mufflers. I need to find out what exhaust he has on his car. I'm not sure if he's Dynamax or Flowmaster. So Sean reaches back out to me about a month later. He's like, man, you know, I posted the car up. I'm not getting too much traction. You know, hello, if you don't have the whole story and the whole package compiled together to try and sell your 250,000-mile hatchback Mustang, you know, especially to people that don't know what DECH is, so on and so forth, might be a tough sell at 30K. So I made him an offer and I said, listen, man, this is where I need to be for the car. I'm sorry if it offends you or if you feel like it's too low, but this is where I'm at. I'm sight unseen. I got to go and find a way to get the car. I got to get someone to inspect it and get, you know, do the deal for me, because I'm not going to fly all the way up to Canada just to take care of this deal. Logistics are expensive right now, so on and so forth. So he agreed. Meanwhile, between all this time and back and forth, I've been updating Kazel, aka Gary, about the whole situation, and he was more than happy to help. Like, man, if you need me to look at this car, you need me to help you broker the deal, just let me know. And well, Gary was the man who was left in charge. And we set up a time, got Gary the money, and Gary has all of the delivery footage of this. So the guy arriving, I think he even went out and got a drone so that he could get drone footage of this car arriving. He did a compression test of the car. He's looked over all the areas to see if there is rust. And let's just say, well, we don't have to just say, he actually went to a local car show, and I know this is going to be a video, and tried to get everyone to guess how many kilometers or miles were actually on this car. So he put a towel over the cluster, didn't let anybody look, and he told me what the result was, and it'll blow your mind. So we'll wait and see the video on that. But you guys are going to have to keep watching. Be sure to check out Gary's video on Tuesday, because Gary's going to reveal the whole car, and I'm going to see the footage. Well, not for the first time, because I took some snippets to put in this video, but it's been over a week since the deal's been done, and I'm literally recording this without having seen his footage yet. So I'm going to watch his footage that he's put together, take some clips, put them into this video so that you guys can see them. But I know, based on what he's said, and I know what his standards are, I know what his definition of mint is. So reading between the lines and putting that all together, I know that this car is going to be pretty damn amazing. Last but not least, how am I going to get this car? Well, you're going to have to watch Gary's video again, because Gary is going to spill the beans on the plan that we have for this thing. And if I laugh, because isn't it funny when you make yourself laugh about some of your own qualities? So anybody who knows me close enough knows that I am one that loves to concoct a master plan, especially a master plan that involves logistics and experiences, road trips, if you will. You guys are going to be, I think, blown away, because I'm super excited about what's going to happen with this car and what our plans are. So be sure to check out his video, because he's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen with this thing. Maybe, just maybe, we can get that odometer to turn 500,000 kilometers. So that is one thing. If you guys are wondering, well, how do you know that it has the hundreds of thousands of miles that it does? Well, Canadian cars have that extra digit in the odometer. I believe New York brought out the 100,000th digit for somewhere in the 90s, but Canada had it from, I want to say, 87 forward. So we know it's there. It's got the 4 in the front. The Carfax report proves it as well. And what a story. Like, apparently the doors open and shut. Like, the car has, like, call it 60,000 kilometers or like 40,000 miles. Like, it's going to be as cherry as this 86 GT here, where it's just, you know, he actually sent me a video. He's like, or a sound clip through WhatsApp. He's like, man, just listen to the way that this door opens. And it was just like unbelievable with all that seat time. The interior's mint. It's actually an old school stereo in it too. So I'm going to end this video here because you know what? You guys aren't getting to see much, and I'm just talking quite a bit, but I got a lot of good information, a lot of good news out to you guys. So you're going to have to stay tuned. There's going to be quite a bit that's going to happen with this car over the next few months, and I can't wait to see the car in person. So there you have it. If you guys know of anywhere where there's a set of 16-inch or whatever, I don't care if they're stepped up or whatever it might be, but I would love to get a set of 3-piece Simmons wheels, the basket weaves, or if you know where a set of alloy diplomats are. Because the car is black, I want to try and get it back, or just to complete the whole DECH theme. I'll be adding the DECH front bumper on it so that it looks proper. And I can't wait, like, to get a picture of this black one next to DECH number 5. I'll be so close to being able to recreate. I've tried to recreate one of the DECH pamphlets or posters that they did back in the day with the strawberry car and my silver notch, but I would love to get a black hatch with the white hatch and have the whole contrast thing going on and just kind of complete the whole look off. So there's my story. There's my good news about the 10K milestone. Thank you guys for tuning in and following along. Be sure to stay tuned in and everything else, because man, this is going to be an awesome story. And you know what? It really just helps me get one step closer to getting this DECH documentary done, because the owner, or the former owner of this random 87 GT DECH, actually had a lot of really good, valuable information to share about his experiences with Derek and how he managed to build the car and why he was so passionate. Like, you got to think, he had stuff and parts shipped from the other side of Canada just to build this car to the DECH specifications that Derek would have built it for it to be sold at a dealer. So be sure to stay tuned. Thanks again for all the support. We'll see you here next time on the Infamous Project.